Hello, I'm Janna and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. We are slowly getting to the end of our Halloween extravaganza, so that means I need to pull out one last show-stopping piece, and this is going to be a two-part video. We're going to be creating a haunted library. So today we're going to be working on all the parts, pieces, and fixtures for the library. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. To start our library project, we're going to be altering our foundation first. So today we have the Tim Holtz Idea-ology Vignette divided drawer. And we're going to be using this to create a fantastical library. So let's go ahead and open this right up and we'll start the alteration process. So just take the wrapping off. This is completely ready to use. Okay. So first things first, we are not going to need the shelves where they currently are. So just with a little bit of a wiggle back and forth, I should be able to crack the glue and, whoa, okay, take it off in one shot. Now this actually brings me to something I was debating, and I think I just kind of decided and fixed my own dilemma. So for this library, I really want to do a spiral staircase, but my issue has been that a spiral staircase would be really, really cramped inside of this space. So I had been thinking about opening the library up and extending the wall to make more space. But to do that, I was going to have to take a full wall, and I wasn't sure if the wall was going to come off nicely, but, well, it kind of just came off. So we have our extension. So what I'm planning on doing is taking this and adding those shelves to give us some extra length. So we'll just end up gluing this like that, and we've got our extra dimensions. So, wow, I didn't expect it to be so easy. Okay, so first things first, let's put some scrap paper down, and I need to glue this back together now. That was definitely not on the immediate plan, but here we are. Okay, so I've got some super glue. This is my favorite. It's the super glue gel, and I find this is really useful when I want things to stick together and stay together fast. So we're going to go ahead and just add that glue right down the line. Then I'll be able to put that panel in. We'll hold it for about 15 to 20 seconds and it should be ready to go. Okay, so we've got our glue. Just go ahead and cap that off. We'll set this down in here. Now I'm putting the paper down because I really don't want to get stuck to the mixed media mat. So we're just going to press that. I'm going to squish that together as tight as I can, and that should set up very quickly. And that gives me the extension that I needed to add the spiral staircase. I can't believe how well that just worked out. So that was a very happy coincidence. Okay, so that should be pretty close to good. If I have a little bit of glue, it's not a problem because we're going to be covering this entire section with paper. Okay, so right now I'm going to add this piece going outward. And having that little bit of extra is going to be a good thing because that's going to give the staircase even more room to breathe. So let's get more of that super glue, and we're just going to spread that. Oh, this is setting up fast, just like I wanted it to. I'm going to run that along the top here and along this piece here. And I might just add just a very thin layer going up the seam. I just want to make sure everything's going to stay in place the way it should. So just scribbling a little bit extra here. Now I just need to make sure that I don't accidentally put a hand or an arm in that and we'll be all set. Okay, now let's take that extra shelf piece and stick that right here. So again, I'm just gonna squish that in as tight as I can. We'll hold that about 15 to 20 seconds and that should stay in place quite nicely. Okay, I was not planning on doing this big of an alteration, but here we are. All right. And I'll need to do the same thing for the bottom. Okay. That feels good. We'll just move that a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. All right, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to add some glue along both edges, and then we'll add that extra shelf piece. So just laying down that glue. There we go. And a little bit up on the side. Great, and we'll cap that off. So we'll take the shelf, we'll just slide that in, and again, we'll press that down and hold that for a few seconds just to give the glue a chance to set. And then we'll be ready to start altering the inside. Now let's go ahead and start decorating the interior of our box. So what we have first is some Idea-ology backdrops, and we're going to be using the paper to line the interior of our vignette. So we've got this lovely green, and this is from this year's Halloween set. Let's go ahead and grab our collage medium and glue that right in. So I'm just going to dive right in there with my finger, and we'll just give that a good smush all around. We'll get that interior decorated so then we can start looking at the details. And of course, if you don't like the glue ooze, go ahead, find a paintbrush, a sponge, a dabber. Any of those are great for applying glue as well. Okay, so almost got that covered. Just moving that around, getting glue everywhere we can, just to make sure that everything's going to fit together nicely. All right. So we've got our glue. Now we're just going to carefully slip this right in and press it down. Before I press too much, I'm going to give my hands a quick wipe and get the glue ooze off. Okay. I love that paper. That is going to be perfect for a creepy library. Okay. So that's a good start right there. Now we're going to see about working on the sides. So we're going to grab more paper. All right, that scrap is going to be too small. That's okay. I'll set that aside. Can use that for something else. All right. So what I am going to do is take the paper. I've just kind of got that sitting right here, and I'm just going to mark the spot where I need to trim. So I've just got a pen. I'm just giving myself a little mark, and we'll be able to trim this down to size. And I'll do the other part after. So that is good. And we're looking at about, oh, where'd my mark go? I know I have this somewhere. Where is it? Ah, backside. So the cut that I'm going to be making is just about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead, cut that down, and I'm going to cut another couple of strips so that we can work on the top and bottom pieces at the same time. So now we're going to get more glue, and we're going to work on going around the top and the bottom part of the vignette box. So again, we'll just dip into our collage medium, add some glue, and put those pieces on here. I just love using the backdrop papers. They are a quick and easy way to alter a vignette box, and they can completely set the tone of a project. Okay, so we've got that. Take this, place that right along there, kind of wipe away the glue ooze that we can. All right. And why not? Let's take care of the bottom section at the same time. Then I'll get to the side. A little bit more glue. Spread that around. Great. So my thought at this point for this first portion of the video set, we're going to be working on just altering the box, because we want to alter the inside and we want to alter the outside, and then we'll move into a lot of the details, putting different pieces together, and then the final segment, which I will air on Halloween, will cover putting everything together. So this video we have the interior design and some of these small detail portions. I'm definitely saving the staircase for this second video. That's going to take a fair bit of time, I believe. And I think that's going to be the trickiest part of this entire installation. But I am thinking once we have this interior done, I do want to kind of get some rough measurements and maybe put shelves in at the same time. That would still be part of the initial construction phase. Okay, so now I'm going to take care of this long segment. More glue. And spread that around. Good. Okay, good. So time to wipe off my fingers and let's get that last piece of paper in. I will need to do a quick mark on it just to trim down the extra on this. Okay, that's going to be right here. I've got my scissors off to the side. Just give that a quick snip. Okay, good. Let's just go ahead and stick that right in. Perfect. All right. That is good. I'm just going to kind of squish around some of this extra glue and just make sure everything is sticking down nicely. Okay. Pretty good. I love the interior already. Now I'm just going to do a quick trim on the outside and get rid of the extra paper. There we go. It's 1 and 2. Great. So the interior is looking pretty good. Now I want to turn our attention to the exterior. I want to give the interior a little bit of time to dry before I jump into shelves. All right. So on the outside, I want to paint this. We're going to start with some walnut stain. Then I will add a dash of iced spruce over the top, and we're also going to be playing with some crackle paste and glaze. But I kind of want to go for a uniform color first. I love the natural wood, but I really want to darken it up just a bit. So we've got our paint. Gonna add some water, and we've got a brush. All right. So we'll just move that around, get our initial coating on, and then we'll start playing with some texture. Okay, the back is pretty good. So now I'm just going to prop this up and work on the sides too. All right. So I think I'll just put some more paint right on the top, and I can just grab from that and use that on the sides. There we go. I like that because I'm using such a thin amount of paint, we can actually kind of see the wood grain still through it, so I like that a lot. All right, that's the side done. We'll just turn that. And we'll work on the next side. I'm going to grab a little bit more paint, and we'll just brush that right on. A little bit more water. Good. Just trying to get a uniform look here. Okay, good. That's 3 sides. Now I just need that final side. Paint, a little water, and brush. Good. So we'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to give this a quick dry, and then we'll see about adding some texture paste to this. Our paint is now nice and dry, so it's time to see about grunging up the outside of the vignette box. So I'm going to grab a palette knife, and we're going to grab our crackle paste. Let's go ahead and open that up. I'm also in the process of getting rid of all of my press and seal because I finally got my stash of black rubber bands in. I'm going to be trying this method of preserving and keeping things in working shape. Okay, so what I want to do is run this right down the back. We're going to try to get some skippy bits going and get some awesome crackle. All right, and we'll just turn that. We'll work on this side. There we go. Ooh, that's working out very well. Okay. I need to balance that a moment while I get more crackle. And I really want more crackle on the edges. Oh no, edges just need to be crackly. Okay. So I think we're doing pretty good. That's looking pretty well covered. I'm just going to turn this one more time. That's right, because this has to be the top. All right. And I'm just going to add a little bit more on here. There we go. Ooh, it's going to look so good. Okay, and a little bit more over here. So I think we're going to be good. Before we let that crackle paste set, we do need to go in with some Distress glaze because this is going to give us even more grunge. Now for Distress glazes, we're going to be using a combination of antique linen and frayed burlap. So I'm just going to take a good generous pinch and we're just going to sprinkle that right over the top. And that should give us some really cool grunge to play with. Hopefully I didn't wait too long and I don't want that to fall everywhere, but let's go ahead, give that a go and see what happens. And then I'll try to get the top and the side. Okay, pretty good. We've got a generous amount of glaze on here, so let's go ahead and just tap. Okay, I might have waited a little bit too long, but we're getting some glaze on here. Well, let me see what I can do about the top of this. I'm going to try to cluster some of that glaze together. I do like that mix. All right, the top part is still kind of damp-ish, so we can add a bit of glaze to it. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to turn this, and I don't think I can get much on this side, but I'm going to try. Oh, I'm getting some, so that's good news. All right, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Not bad. I'm definitely getting some glaze on here, so I just wanted the glaze so that's going to contribute to the grungy look of the box. All right, so we've got our glaze on here. Let's go ahead and set this aside, and we'll check back later to see how it looks. In the meantime, I need to cap these back up and set them aside before I knock them over and have all sorts of terrible messes occur. All right, let's move on to some bookmaking. All right, so need to do a quick clean. And now we're going to be jumping into some of the details of this project. One of the things that I've been working on, and you probably already saw the reel that goes hand in hand with this, is bookmaking. So libraries, of course, need books. And we have talked about these a few times. There was the reel. I think I might have talked about it in some alterations at one point, but we've made quite a few books. And by quite a few, I mean I've got a pretty good bucket of them right here. But libraries don't just have a few books. Libraries have lots of books, so we need to make even more books. I'm going to break this down again, and we'll just talk about how these are made, and then I'll put things on fast forward so that we can make books en masse. All right, let's just push these guys over the corner, and we're going to bring in the supplies that we're going to need for some book making. For bookmaking, we're going to need a scoreboard. I've got the mini score buddy. That one's been very useful to me in the past. And I have lots of strips of paper. We've got some 8" by 1.5" strips, and these are going to become the pages in the books. Then, of course, I have got so many book covers, and all of these are from Tim Holtz Idea-ology Halloween. I probably have a few thrown in here from the Christmas SKU as well. But we've got lots of books, and we're going to put them together. So let's do one in real time before we kick everything on fast forward. Let's take this guy right here. So first things first, we need to do a bit of scoring. So you can kind of see where the spine of the book is. I'm going to line that up with one of the grooves in the score buddy. And I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to score along that line. This is going to give me the spine of the book and be where we place all of our pages. So we have that, fold it. We've got our book shape. Now it just needs pages. So we're going to be taking the strip, and just roughly we're going to be scoring every, oh, how many eighths of this? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every 7/8. That's a very weird measurement, but it's the one that's been working. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which doesn't have a mark. So I have to move this over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is going to be a little bit challenging. So every 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there we go. And I'll just keep scoring this until I have the entire page done. Oh, for some reason I got 2 strips. All right. So I'm just going to fold that, and we're going to keep going. So here, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. It's definitely a very awkward number to work with, but we're going to make it work. 7 and 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I think we just need to do one more set and we should be good. Okay, 7 and 7. Okay, so we have our pages. Now I'm just going to do a basic accordion fold to get everything lined up. There we go. It's pretty good. And I do have a little bit of a tail here, so we're just going to snip that right off. We don't need that. And now I need to grab some hot glue, because this is what I'm going to be using for the binding of the book. We're going to open our book cover up, apply a generous amount of hot glue down the spine. Then we'll take our pages, line that up, and stick that inside. Now glue ooze is definitely going to happen, but I'm just wiping it off. And we'll hold that for a few seconds, and then we have another book. So we're going to be repeating this process and making lots and lots of books to make a library. All right, let's go ahead and put everything on fast forward. Well, we have got a giant stash of books. This is roughly about 70 plus books, so hopefully that will be enough to fill our library. So I'm going to set these off to the side, and we're going to take another look at our vignette box and see how the crackle paste is doing. If it's all nice and dry, we'll be able to emboss the embossing glaze that's on the outside and do some finishing touches on the exterior of the vignette, and then we'll take a look at the inside again. So just moving all these books off to the side. There's a lot of them. They're pretty much everywhere now. Okay, taking a look at the vignette box. So we've got our crackle. So now we can go in with the embossing gun. I'm going to go ahead and mute this part, and we're going to do some embossing. Okay, let's take a closer look. We have got our embossing glaze on here, and we're definitely getting grungy. So what I want to do next is add a bit of iced spruce to this, and then we're going to also be going in with some Distress Crayon to add more grunge. But first I want to go for some more paint. Alright, so I've got some paint off to the side, and I've got my paintbrush. We're just going to brush that on there. Now the glaze is going to kind of act like a resist, so I don't have to worry too much about getting paint on that, but just trying to get more of that wonderful grunge to show through. So we're just kind of dry brushing this on. Splotchy is good right now, so I'm not going to worry too much about being neat. There we go. This is starting to look nice and beat up. A bit more water, a bit more paint. There we go. It's looking really grungy. So now we're just going to turn this. We'll work on this side. Again, just brushing some paint on. Okay. A bit more water. Spread it around. Great. And we've got this side here. Ooh, I love the amount of grunge that we're building up. That is fantastic. Okay, so we're good with that. Now the next thing is to give this a quick dry and come in with some Distress Crayon. For Distress Crayon, I've got a bit of scorched timber that we're going to be using momentarily. Now that our paint is all dry, we're going to be going in with some Distress Crayon, and I'm pulling in the Distress brush. This will help us maneuver the crayon around and get some good coverage. So I'm just scribbling some of the scorched timber off to the side. I've got some water down, and we're just going to grab that up with a brush and start smushing that into the cracks. Because the whole point is to bring out more of that grunge. Okay, not bad. And now I'm going to just wipe a little bit of that off. There we go. Okay, and I do want to darken up a few areas. We're just going to take the crayon and directly scribble over some of that crackle. There we go. That is working out very well. So, all that's smushed in, we can now turn this over and try another section. Okay. Very happy with the grunge on that, but maybe just back it off just a hair with... There we go. All right, next side. Just gonna scribble that down. Go in a little bit with the brush. Now I just want to take a little bit of this off. There's just a little too much. There we go. Nice and grungy. All right, one last side. We've got the top. Just gonna brush that on and then do a little scribble. Okay, smoosh that out. Good. A little water. Okay. That is good. I'm happy. Okay. So we've got the outside of the box, nice and grungy. Now let's go ahead and take a look back at the inside. Okay, now we're just going to change the camera angle for a little bit because we're going to be working on building vertically. Now it's time to work on the inside. So on the inside, I want to build some shelves, and I've got all sorts of etc. pieces to help with this. Now I've had a few thoughts on the shelves. We've got all sorts of different edges, and these are going to be hidden. So it's not going to really matter too much where these end up. But the main thing is I want to have shelves, but then I also want to have a walkway for some of the other details. So the question is, like, how far down do we make each shelf? Now, the easiest way to answer this is to grab just one of the books. Now, this is a pretty standard book, and we're just going to use that to measure, and that's going to be our shelf height. So right about there. And the other thing is I need to cut these down a bit because they are too long. So everything's going to need to be cut right about here. I'm going to mark that and then I'll tell you what the measurement looks like. So all of these pieces for the back portion of the vignette are going to be cut at 5 inches. That's a nice, easy measurement to remember. So I'm going to grab some heavy-duty scissors and we'll start cutting those down. Of course, I've got my trusty tonic snips. So we're just going to start cutting these and then can start gluing. And the other question is, how many of these do I want? So let's see. Kind of want to do like 1, 2. Then I'm hoping to have a walkway. Oh, this is hard. I think I'm gonna have to just hot glue this in and figure it out as we go along. So I think hot glue is gonna be the easiest thing for attaching these right now. Okay. Good. Now let's take that. I'm also going to take that book. This is a way to kind of judge the height that I want. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'll just hold that right here. That's going to be shelf number 1. I just hope I'm level. Okay, oh, glue strand. Where'd that come from? Oh, I've got a big glue strand right here. Okay, there. I'll have to do some adjustment. Okay, so that's shelf level number 1. Now let's go, oh, hey, that's perfectly measured. Cool. Let's go for number 2, and I want to grab another tall book. So we'll add glue. Being very generous with the glue because I want these shelves to stay in place. And for the hot glue gun, I'm using a Sure Bonder. Okay, so I'm going to take that, placing that just about here, checking the height with the book. That seems to be good. Okay, and just pressing that in. So what I want to do is have several layers of shelves, but I also want a walkway. So ooh, I could do like 3 shelves and then maybe the walkway, and then I can put the other shelves under that. All right, now I'm just looking at pieces right now. So if I do one more shelf, I could do like a ladder for the top part. Or do I want to do a ladder on the bottom? Questions. So, well, what if we start a walkway about here? That might work. Okay, so if we do a walkway there, I'm going to want 2 of the larger pieces. That's going to stick out like this. And that'll be my walkway. And I am going to deliberately leave that hanging over the edge because of the spiral staircase. Okay. So I'm going to mark each of these off at 5 inches, and then I'm going to cut them. Then we'll glue them together and then add that in for the walkway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got that marked. And we'll mark the other one, and then we'll glue these together. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let's go ahead and cut these. All right. Yep. We will do the flat edge to flat edge. So we'll just take the hot glue gun, run that right down. Good. And stick these together. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside for a moment and let the glue set up, and I'm just going to get rid of some glue ooze. Okay. So I've got this, that's ready to go. And we'll tuck that in right here. Great. Now, one thing I am thinking about later is that I might want to, you know what, actually, I really like these. These kind of look like shelves already, and with the books on them, it's probably going to work out really well. Maybe I'll do like something to the edges, maybe some paint. I don't know. I'm going to have to play around. All right, so let's glue this floor to the rest of the vignette. So I got that, and this part does not need to be very low. I just want that here. Okay, good. I'll just hold that in place, and then we can do another layer of shelves. Great. And speaking of shelves, I do want to extend the shelves this way. Just a little bit, because maybe I can stick an extra couple of books on the side. So we'll cut this. And we'll just glue that right in. And I'll need some more hot glue. Here we go. Great. So we'll take this, glue along here, and glue along this side. And we'll stick that right here. And that extends the shelf a bit more. Great. Okay, right there. And let's do one more piece up here. That's going to go here, so I'll need to cut about here. Doing some rough measurements with these. And again, more glue. Glue here. Glue there, and we'll stick that right in the corner here. All right. This is coming together very nicely. All right, so we've got at least another 2 shelves to add in. Let's get more glue and put the next shelf in. And I'll need a book to make sure that it's going to be just about right. I've got a book that can go here. All right. Just double checking that while I can still, yep, books are good. Okay, now we'll do another shelf right around there. And then I need to check a few things before I decide if we're going to add a third shelf. Okay, book. Good. Oh, I love the shelves. The books are going to be so good on here. Can't wait. All right. So, back in just a moment. So, let's continue and add another shelf. We've got the space, so why not? More glue right along there. Great. And I'll need a book. Let's grab that one. And we'll have plenty of space. Good. So next I need to add the little end pieces over here. So I've got that. Okay, we'll stick that right in. That makes a nice part of the corner shelf. We've got two more, and then that's going to just about wrap up part one. Okay, more glue and stick. Fantastic. I'm really seeing this library come together. This is getting very exciting. Okay, and over here. Perfect. We'll take that, place that right there. Excellent. So, this is going to wrap up part one of our haunted, fantastical library. Next time, we're going to be shelving our books, adding details, and putting all the pieces together. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner. Until next time, happy crafting.